Testing. Afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay. All good. All right. So we'll wait another 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. We'll wait another 1 or 2 minutes and then we can start. Okay. So I hope everyone can hear me. Right. For now, you are muted, but you can send anything to the chat. And at the last half an hour, I'm going to enable you to unmute as well as the chat is open anytime for you to send any message, right? Any question you have, right? As the session goes on, right? So if you have any friends, you can share them the link, okay? Ask them to join live, right? I would ask them to join live, okay? So we'll start in another 1 minute, okay? Okay. Right. Once again, good afternoon. I think we better start, right? All of you can hear me clearly, right? The video is clear. Yeah. Send me a message in the chat. Yeah. Any issue? Okay. All good. So I hope this is your first biology experience. So I just want to welcome you, right, to advanced level as well as to the biology stream, as well as more specifically my particular subject, that is English medium biology, right? So I want to welcome you, and I really appreciate that you joining a live session or going to a physical class, right? I started my physical classes at the two locations. So this is a special online meeting for my online students because I just want to give you some extra tips, right? If you are planning to continue as online, purely online, that's fine, right? Depending on the distance, it's very understandable and the availability of classes, right? The For online students, everything is going to be, I mean, as close as to the physical experience that it will be delivered without a delay. No problem with that, and the recordings are available for both physical and online students. If you get absent for a day, you can access the recordings without any worry. So as I was saying, I appreciate the fact that you are thinking about your A levels, right? I appreciate the fact you are thinking about your A levels, right? I know. I think only last Thursday you finished the exam, so less than a week, right? We are here on Wednesday. less than a week has gone by, and maybe parents like Karadreta, but maybe, I don't know, but you are here, right? You have joined a live session, so that means you are thinking about your future, right? Because we are here at 2026 March, the beginning of March. In 2028 August, that's going to be the end of this journey. So hopefully you and I, as the teacher and the student, right, we'll start a journey together, right? Then that will journey will continue almost for 2.5 years, 2 years and 6 months almost, if you count from this month, right? So we'll continue that journey together. Me as a teacher, you as a student, me as a service provider, I provide you with the knowledge, and you are the sort of, you receive it, and I try my best to guide you to whatever you want to do, right? Whatever you want to pursue as your future, right? So today, here is the plan, right? Small introduction into A levels. What is different about A levels? What should be your final targets? That I will talk about. Then I will talk about the structure of the exam, structure of the paper. I will talk about. Then I'll talk about the structure of the biology syllabus and what are the textbooks and other things that you need to prepare yourself with if you are coming in to do biology, right? Then we'll move on to the first lesson itself. So people, you will able to access the first tute in the chat. People who are just joining, I didn't mention anything important yet, right? The first tute is available in the group, okay, and in the Zoom chat, okay. So no need to download it, rush it to download it right now. I will tell you when to download it, okay. So because the way my plan is structured, my class is structured, my class program is structured over these 2.5 years, we need to start from this month, right? You will see the program includes this month. So without much blah blah or extra things, we are going to move on to the theory teaching, right? Okay, so that's the plan for you today. And at the end, you can ask any doubts, or during the class, you can send anything to the chat, and we can discuss. Okay, so right. So send me some messages. What are your targets? What are your targets after doing A levels? What do you plan? What are your plans? Right? What are your plans? So we'll go through this entire presentation soon, right? But I want you to just come back down to, right, to the very end, because I want to start there. All right. Can you see the board clearly? Yes. Okay. In the chat, send me what's your ambition, right? What is the sort of field you want to go to? So you have decided biology. No? What is the field that you want to pursue, career in, right? As a job. Okay. Very specific. Okay. Neurosurgeon, gynecologist. Yeah. What else? Send to the main chat. Main chat. Right. Otherwise, it's bit your message will be a bit missed. Okay. Pediatrician. Okay. All those are specific specialities of physicians, right? Doctors, psychiatrist, very nice, right? Very important job. A lot of neurosurgeons, right? So I'm seeing a pattern there. I'm seeing a pattern there, right? So yeah, that's the obvious. I mean, let's say the classical pathway is to become a physician with a MBBS degree, then move on to all these specialties that you are mentioning. Those are all postgraduate things you can specialize in, right? So yeah, the cardiac surgeon, a cardiologist, or a psychiatrist, neurosurgeons are there, plastic surgeons are there, oncologist, very interesting, microbiologist, very important in the future. Microbiologist, there's going to be a lot of bacterial infections. Pediatrician or gynecologist, right? So you are going to treat the mother, then the baby, right? There are pediatric both double specialty doctors. I'm just making some chat with you, right? There are double specialists, right? I have a senior madam who's a double specialist, right? Pediatricians and gynecologists. Yes, we'll all talk about those, right? So I hope your parents are also listening, right? If you have the parents at home, ask them to join. Whatever, I mean, how much like, so we, all of these students who are facing the exam in biostream, we are going to go in all different journeys to a one final exam that is in 2028 August for you, right? So about 3-4 months later, you are going to get the result, right? 3-4 months later, you are going to get the result, and another maybe 3 months later, you are going to get what we call as the cutoff marks, right? So once you get that, before you get that, you need to do something like this, okay? Right? I'm moving. I mean, talking about something almost 3 years ahead, okay? This is how we have to think, right? You have to think about the 3-year future to start working right now. It is nothing too serious. There's going to be a book like this. You can buy it from a bookshop or nobody buys it, right? It's available as a PDF. This was the book for your immediate seniors, 2025 A-level people, right? So it is printed by the UGC, University Grants Commission. So if you want to go to a state university, this is the process you have to follow, right? So as I was saying, the results are going to come in somewhere in 2028, maybe in November or something, right? So every A-level student who got into medicine, vet, dental, molecular biology, or any other good, I mean, all of them have a screenshot, right? Nobody goes into the school and checks their result. They have a screenshot with their NIC number, okay? Then hopefully 3A passes. This is your result sheet, right? The one you check in your mobile phone, because whenever they say the results are out, you are going to be somewhere, trip එකක් ගිහිල්ලා හරි somewhere outside, right? So this is your result. There's going to be a Z score and an island rank. Sorry, before that a district, island rank, and a district rank. This is what you are working for. This is what you are working for. This screenshot of your results. Based on this, the Z score, you can apply. You can buy this or the download this PDF, and you can think what you are going to do for A levels. Sorry, you can what you are going to choose as your degree. I have a list here, right? I hope you can see. Right. So if you are a medical student, I mean, if you are doing biology, the ultimate plan at the top of the range is to do medicine, right? So I hope you can see here, right? It's still a bit loading. This is medicine, University of Colombo. Medicine, University of Colombo. Okay. Hold on. So depending on your Z score, the top, if you have the highest, I mean, the possible result, the best thing you can do is apply to Colombo Medicine. Then you have based on your based on your results, you can have so many other options, right? We'll come back to there. So then you have a series of medical faculties. You have a series of medical faculties starting from University of Colombo, then University of Jawadanapura, my own alma mater. Then you have Peradeniya, right? Peradeniya. And then you have Karapitiya, then you have Kelaniya, right? Then Jaffna. Jaffna is a very competitive university to get into to do medicine, right? So then those are the medical faculties, right? Then there's a newly opened one, Sabaragamuwa, Wayamba, Moratuwa. right? Those kind of medical faculties are there. Then one of the most demanding fields, right? And such a high competition is there, such a high competition is there for dental sciences, right? Dental sciences, we'll check the ESET scores, right? Dental sciences, there's only about 110 intake, right? Only about 110 students are taken in to do dental sciences, right? Because there's only two faculties in Sri Lanka, in Peradeniya and in University of Sri Jawaharlal, newly opened one. Okay, so that is dental. Then the third sort of the demanding field that you have, I mean, let's say the highest is its score. Almost third in place is veterinary science. There's only one faculty available in Sri Lanka, that is at University of Peradeniya, right? That is at University of Peradeniya. If you want a lot of freedom, right? So we are just still talking about the options that you have, right? So as I was saying, medicine is the sort of the first target, right? The top target. I'm not saying that is the classical opinion, nah? Classical opinion that all should try to go to medicine, right? As with my own personal experience, if you are not prepared to work very hard, or if you feel like it's not the field for you, now it's the time to decide, right? Think about it a bit, right? There are so many other fields that you can earn more and also do a service to the society, but it's a very humane job. You get to help people, right? You get to be a important part of people's lives, right? So according to statistics, last year the medicine intake from all the medical faculties in Sri Lanka was, I think, about 2096, right? 2096. That was the medicine intake, right? Then second place we have dental faculty, right? We have dental faculty with dental sciences or dental surgery, you can say, right? There's only about 110, right? Then for veterinary, I think the intake was about this was about 130. Veterinary science only 110. So if you want the most freedom, right, as a university student, you have to go to vet Peradeniya, right? They have, I think, the area wise the largest faculty, right? The area wise the largest faculty is for Faculty of Veterinary Science, University of Peradeniya. They have like almost half the Hantana mountain range for them, right? Because they have so many rescued animals in the entire forest, right? So then you have other degrees such as agriculture, right? It's a highly, I mean, you cannot, I mean, the jobs are so common for agriculture field. It has a lot of, I mean, so many opportunities. About 845 students were taken in to do agriculture last year. Then what about, then we have something, things like food science, right? We have food science, right? Because again, such a demanding field because of the, we need to target the export production. So we have a lot of food production happening in Sri Lanka for the export market, for the foreign markets. So jobs are very common and the pay is very high, right? So food science is there, and another very demanding field is molecular biology, right? That is offered by University of Colombo. I think very limited intake, only about 50 students. Very important field, right? With genetic research and also sort of vaccine development, pharmacology development, drugs development, so many courses you can do. Very competitive degree, very difficult to go into molecular biology, right? So those are the some of the common fields, right? So those are some of the common degrees you can try to target, right? As I said, it all depends on the result sheet that you receive after these 3 years, right? So I want you to keep that idea in your head that we are working for that, nothing else. We are working for that ultimate goal, right? Because I know you are not small children anymore, right? Because you, with your parents, together with your parents, this is the time for you to think about what you want to do. Okay, this is your free time, right? For about until almost until you get your results. Uh, you don't have anything much to study, right? I know you. I mean, go to classes and compare classes. Which one is suiting best suited for me, right? Because at the end of the day, what matters is you choosing the teachers that are going to help you rather than helping themselves, right? So I know it's you are going to hear this story again and again, but decide if these teachers are going to if these teachers are assuring the fact that they are covering the syllabus, they are prioritizing your understanding over anything, if they are doing enough questions, right? Those are the things you have to think about, right? Those are the things you have to think about in this almost 1 month or 2 months duration. Consider the options that you have to learn the A level 3 subjects most effectively without the minimum time wastage. Okay. Right. Any questions you have? Right. So far, do you have any questions? There's something bit of a technical issue, right? Hold on. Okay. Right. Then that's the next thing. Okay. So, right. So you have some certain targets that depending on the messages I received, you have certain targets, medicine related. Lecturers, I saw a lecturer, someone who wants to be a lecturer, right? So, in order to go there, is it necessary, right? The question is it necessary to do it in English medium? That's the big problem, right? Why is there a need to do it in English medium? All right. So, I experienced this firsthand when so I did my A levels in English medium, so it was not a problem for me. But students who became my batchmates later years, right? So what I saw is sometimes they had a better island rank or they had a better rank than me for A levels, but when they came to university, they struggled because everything in university is taught in English. Everything is taught in English, right? There is nothing done in other than English, right? All your lecture notes. Then, if you go to medicine, there are tutorials that a lecturer directly interacts with you, asks you questions. If you go to hospital, you have to take a history from a patient in English. You have to present that to your senior consultant in English, right? Everything is in English. All the medicine textbooks are in English, right? So you have to write your answers in English. You have to do your finals in English, right? So what I am saying is, with the current availability of classes as well as the availability of resources, you have the YouTube, ChatGPT, everything, right? There is nothing stopping you from doing A levels in English medium. Nothing is stopping you from doing A levels in English medium. Okay, it's actually the best preparation you can have to face your university life, right? And if you take bio, it's actually much more simple because you have a defined so English medium biology, I think, is the most logical thing to do, because biology, it's a theoretical subject, right? It's a theoretical subject. So, being a theoretical subject, if you learn it in a language that is other than English, you are basically learning something translated, right? You translate all the original English words, technical words in in biology into Sinhala, and then you are learning it, right? So why do that? Why do that? Because learn it in the original sort of the scientific language. I'm not saying English is the best language or dominating, but the reality it is, it has become the language of science. Neither it has become the language of science. So what else to do, right? So we have to embrace English, right? And the other thing is, there is no worry for you about your A-level resources, because what textbook? We have a textbook that is called the resource book, right? So we have a textbook that is a resource book. So for you, for O levels, I know you had four textbooks, right? The grade 10 and 11, part 1, part 2. We have actually three. There's one book for grade 12 and grade 13. That is part 1 and part 2. Okay. So those are the textbooks that we have. So the best thing is, nothing is asked outside these textbooks, these resource books. All right. So don't bother your parents to buy their resource book right now. Right. If you go through my tute, you will be able to see that I have included the resource book up to about 2 months ahead. So for about 2 months, you don't need to buy the resource book yet. I'll talk about the resource book right now. So you have a textbook like this, and the thing is, so if you take your O-level science book, if you Google some of the, if you Google maybe the excretory system or something, they have used the first image that comes in Google, right? Sometimes that has happened. So the standard of the O-level science book is a bit low, but it's not like that in A-levels. These books have been written with international reference books, right? There are several books such as Campbell Biology, latest edition. Your syllabus came out in 2017, so a bit outdated now. But then for the human biology parts, we have a nursing book that is called Ross and Wilson. So those were the two books that were used to write this resource book. So it's very accurate, right? Very accurate. But one of the weaknesses, several weaknesses are there, right? Weaknesses of the resource book. I'm going to tell you right now, because this is the introduction, and I'm not going to talk about this again in class, right? Weaknesses of the resource book are, the diagrams are not enough, right? Diagrams are inadequate, right? For your proper understanding, there are no diagrams, not enough diagrams, right? It's just words and words and words. Okay. And the other thing is, certain lessons such as molecular biology, a bit disorganized. Okay. There is a bit of disorganization in the resource book. So if you try to self-study biology, it's possible, but it's going to be difficult, because it's sort of hard to organize all that information into a way that you can study and take it into your memory. For that, we need some proper visualization with some nice diagrams. And also, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to nicely organize your resource book for you, so that you can easily put it into your long-term memory, right? So you will see in my future tutes, right? In my future tutes. So let's talk about what I provide to you, right? In my tutes, you will see, I have uploaded my first tute. My tutes, what they contain is, they just contain diagrams, right? So not this one, because this one contains the resource book as well. I have written the textbook there, but not in upcoming tutes, right? I'm not going to put any resource book because you have the resource book. I'm going to put some nice diagrams and I'm going to give you a note, right? So you already must have seen, if the parents are listening, this is not an English medium biology class where we write down, I mean, we read the English resource book, but I talk in English, sorry, I talk in Sinhala and explain in Sinhala. No. Okay. I use very simple language, but I talk in English. Okay. Because one of the things I try to do is to improve your English as well, right? Improve your English a little bit as well. Because when you go and go to the exam, you have to write essays. You have to write essay questions. It's going to be a big help for you if the English comes to you naturally. If the English comes to you naturally. So it's not a class where I explain in Sinhala. Okay. So I'm going to use very simple language, but I'm going to speak in English. Okay. Understood? Right. So as I was saying, my tudes are going to include diagrams, color diagrams, full color diagrams, whether you are online or physical, delivered to you free of charge. And I'm going to give a note that is going to help you understand. And my tudes are going to contain classified past paper questions. Okay. Classified past paper questions are going to be there because what I believe is if you try to teach biology without doing questions at the same time, it's going to be boring and the students are going to fall asleep. Okay. So I think you have already gone to certain physics classes, right? How physics is taught is like this, Mehmet, right? 20% of the time they are going to teach the theory in a physics class. If you go to a good physics class, 80% of the time they are going to do questions. එහෙමනේ. Right? So if you're teaching something like Bernoulli's principle, they are just going to say, okay, the theory is like this. Immediately they are going to jump to questions. That's how physics works because you need to practice, you need to apply. Right? I am going to try to do a similar thing, not as much as this uh, level, but I'm going to try to teach 80% of the time and do questions 20% of the time. Because the reality is, if you go to a typical bio class, it's going to be 100% theory teaching during the class duration. That's why Lamainten in the end. That's why students fall asleep, right? The biggest problem with a bio class is like this. The teaching is boring, so the students don't understand. Because they don't understand, they fall asleep and they don't understand even less. So they come home, they don't like bio anymore because they didn't understand, they don't want to go to the class. Even when they go to the class, they fall asleep, so they don't understand that day's lesson. Then again they come home and they don't understand. Then what happens is they go to the term test marks are going to drop. So it's a cycle like that. Okay. So it's a cycle like that. Understood? Right. So that's about my tudes. Okay. We'll come back to the presentation. I have some things to show you, but because I will have to check it again, we'll go with the whiteboard for now. Okay. Right. So then we'll come to let's talk quickly about the final goal. Right. The final goal is the A level biology paper. Right. A level biology paper. What do you know about the A-level biology paper? Yeah, quickly send me in the chat. I need it to be a bit interactive. Ispuda, what do you know about the A-level biology paper? Yeah, do you know the duration? Yes, it's 5 hours. Okay, very good. So, yeah, the paper is 5 hours. Okay, 5 hours. How long is your O-level science paper? How long is your O-level science paper? Is it 4 hours? Only 4 hours. I think single paper was 5 hours. What is the longest paper you have? Okay, right. So A level bio and chemistry and physics all are 5 hours, right? Then it's advanced levels, okay, right? So you are going to have part 1, right? No, I'm just saying this is your final enemy, okay? This is who you have to face, the paper. You have to be alone. You are alone there. Okay. So the diagram part 1, and there's another one, part 2. Part 1 is your MCQ. Is your MCQ 50s. 50 MCQs are there. So for per MCQ you are going to get 1 mark. So 50 out of 100. Right. For O levels, how many options did you get for one MCQ? Like a MCQ, you got how many options did you have to choose from? 4 options. A levels, not like that. In A levels, you are going to have 5 answers. Okay. In A levels, you are going to have five five answers, right? So it's like this. You are going to get an answer script, right? You are going to get an answer script. So imagine this is question number 5. You have 5 squares to color. You have 5 squares to mark your answer, right? So, okay, imagine you are going to guess the answer. Kana gahanne yanne. What is the percentage that you get it right? What is the percentage that you can get a guess answer at O levels? It was about 25%. Here it's only 20%. So the guessing kana gahana chance is dropping. Okay. All right. So that is the MCQ paper. One thing I want to tell you right now is, if you want to try to do all 50 MCQs, the 50 MCQs are going to be from entire syllabus. If you want to try or attempt all 50 MCQs, you should have covered the syllabus. Okay. So what's going to happen in most classes is they are going to drag and the last lessons, such as your lesson number 7, 8, 9, and 10, those are going to be untouched. At least the lesson number 8, 9, and 10 are going to be untouched. That means you can attempt only about 40, sometimes even 35 MCQs. Again, try because you don't know anything. So how can you try to get an A pass with only attempting 40 or 35? No. If you attempt all 50, there's a good chance you get about 45 out of 50. That is a very good possibility. That gives you a very good possibility that you have a pass. Okay. Right. That's the importance of covering the syllabus. Right. A lot of my friends, they got low marks at the MCQ paper because they haven't covered the O levels, the syllabus in time. And what I always try to do is, right, we'll go through my timeline. Okay. Right. We are still in the introduction. We'll go through our timeline. What I assure or guarantee is syllabus coverage. Okay. So we'll move on to part 2. We have 2 parts. We have a structured essay paper and an essay paper. Okay. So for structured essay, we have 4 questions. All right. 4 questions, and the both SCQ, so essay paper and the structured essay paper, are both going to add up to 50 out of 100. It's like this. This happens in this way. So you are going to actually get 4 into 100 marks. One structured essay question is worth 100 marks. That's because this 50 marks you are going to get is actually out of 1000. This 1000 will be converted to 50. So for your part 2 paper, it's going to be actually 1000 marks that will be narrowed down to 50. So for the SCQ, you are going to have 4 SCQs, that is 400 marks each. So total of 400. Essays, you are also going to have 4, that is 150 marks each. So the total is going to be 600. Okay. So if you narrow it down further, the 4 structured essays is 20 marks out of 50, or you can say 20 marks out of 100, right? Essay is 30 marks out of 100. Can someone tell me, out of 100, how much are you going to get from one structured essay question? right? From one structured essay question, how many marks are you going to get out of 100? 5 marks. Yes, very good. ගණන් පොඩ්ඩක් පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ බයෝ කරා කියලා, right? Okay, right. Our combined math people are going to argue, right? Okay, mathematics is the language of the universe, right? Every science is written in the language of maths, right? But at the end of the day, it's like this. Biology is the sort of the extract of all the sciences, because we'll see biology is the study of the living, right? The body study of the living, because we are studying all the other sciences because we are living, right? So anyone who is maybe an engineer, I don't know, maybe the richest businessman, who anyone, if they are having a medical emergency, they have to come to a medical practitioner, all right? So at that stage, biology is the science that's going to save them. Yes, right? So you can talk about that, right? So yeah, one structured essay is worth 5 marks. An essay question is worth 7.5 marks. Right? 7.5 into 4 is 30. My point is, if you take a essay marking scheme, aram balanna, right? It's several pages, I mean, almost one full page long. You have to write an essay almost a full page long. But even if you write everything, I mean, for the most brighter students, the maximum they can get for an essay is maximum of 7 marks, right? 7.5. It's unthinkable, right? So, my point is, right? In essays, no matter how much you try, it's not very, I mean, it's not very easy to get the full marks. Similar for structured essay. But if you have covered the syllabus completely, you can try to attempt all 50 questions. So you can get the maximum of this 50 marks out of 100. One MCQ is worth 50 marks. Sorry, 1 mark out of 100. One MCQ is worth 1 mark out of 100. Right? That's very, very important. Right? It's a big amount of marks. Right? Okay. So that's the structure of the paper. Any questions? Structure of the paper. Any questions? So we have talked about the resource book. Now, let's come to talking about the syllabus, right? How many lessons we have? Talking about the syllabus, right? Full paper is 100 marks, okay, right? So we have a timeline like this, okay? We are here. We have a timeline like this. We are here right now in 2026 March, okay? So we are here right now. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to together create a realistic plan according to how long it's going to take to cover the lessons, right? I'm not going to give, right, a standardized plan. I'm not going to give, because I need to make you understand the lessons are this big. So it's going to take this much time to cover these lessons. Okay, then you'll see. Okay, right. So where are we? Where are we here? In 2026 March. Okay, 2026 March in the ending day is going to be 2028 August. That's the plan, 2028 August. So let's see. You have 10 lessons in the syllabus. Lesson 1 is the one we are going to start, Introduction to Biology, very small lesson, right? I'm going to consider it together with the second lesson, that is called the Chemical and Cellular Basis. All right. So for that, those two lessons, I'm going to need 3 months, because I'm going to take a bit longer, because I'm going to help you to get adapted to A-level studying. At this time, while I'm teaching you this first few lessons, we are going to practice essays, right? A-level essays linearity practice karono, right? We have several practicals to do in the second lesson. Practicals we are going to do with a special practical seminar. Okay, practicals. That's why I'm going to take a bit longer. Okay, third lesson is called Evolution and Diversity. I'm going to take 2 months to do that, right? It's about, you get about 3 to 4 MCQs from the evolution. Then we have one of the biggest lessons, plant form and function. That's going to take about again 2 months, right? Then we come to the giant in your syllabus, right? The biggest lesson, and I mean, I hope it becomes your favorite, animal form and function. I'm going to need about 6 months to do this. Haridhu, 6 months to do this. Got it? About up to about 35 to 40% of the paper is going to be from your fifth lesson, animal form and function. So you can actually get an S pass or up to a C pass if you have completely covered animal form and function. And I take a lot of effort in doing this fifth lesson because it's one of the very most important, I mean, say, let's say one of the most interesting lessons to study, right? Then we have genetics, right? Very important lesson, few MCQs, 2 to 3 MCQs, right? Genetics, I'm going to take about 1.5 months, but let's say 2 months, right? Then we have molecular biology, again, let's say 2 months. Then we have environmental biology, which is like a පහවසරේ පොඩ්ඩක් පරිසරය වගේ, but it's a very calm and sort of a smooth lesson, right? You can relax because you are very close to the exam. Environmental biology about 1 month. Then we have one of the most important lessons, microbiology. I saw there's someone who wants to be a microbiologist, right? Microbiology. Let's take about 2 months to do that. And finally, we have the final lesson that is called applied biology. About 1 month to do that. Okay. So what is the total? 5, 7, 13, 15, 17, 18, 20, 21. Okay. So let's put this into our timeline, right? Put this into our timeline. Where are we? Yes, 2028 March. Okay. We are in 2028 March. Okay. Okay. So here. So second lesson, first lesson and second lesson is going to be done in 3 months. So March, April, May. By May, third lesson is done. 2 more months for evolution. Okay, listen carefully. This is our timeline. Okay, one of the most important things in bio is syllabus coverage. Right, 2 months. June, July. Sorry, this was supposed to be second lesson. Right, second done, third done. Then 2 more months. August, September. Right, August and September. Let's say October. Third, fourth lesson start. Okay. Sorry, so fourth lesson done. Then we start the big animal form and function. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Okay. Fifth lesson done. All right. So where have we? We have now moved on to a new year. Right. We are now in 2027 now. Okay. 2027 will in. All right. Then genetics 2 more months. Till May, June. Sixth lesson done. Then molecular 2 more months. July, August. Molecular done. Yeah, so molecular done. Environmental 1 more month. August, September. Then for microbiology, 2 more months. October, November. Okay. Then ninth lesson done. By December, 10th lesson done. 2028 December. So where are we right now? We are at the starting point of 2028. This is your exam. How many months left? 6. Right. So okay, let's say there were some reasons to postpone. I mean, let's say there were some, right, because of the Third World War almost happening. There were some issues. Let's add one more month for this plan. We have 5 months. Neither 5 months remaining until your exam. Before we have covered the syllabus 5 months before. That is very realistic. If we work consistently in class without nonsense and wasting time, but prioritizing your understanding, only teaching and talking about sort of how to improve yourself, that's all you need. And it's not going to take 2.5 years to cover this syllabus. Okay. So yeah, how many months could you cover the syllabus? Before could you cover the syllabus? You got the answer. Got it? This is our timeline. What else is going to happen? So am I going to only going to cover the syllabus? Is that all I'm going to do? No. Listen very carefully, right? Listen very carefully. Here, once we have completed your third lesson, right? Once we have completed your third lesson, here, evolution completed, here, right? So almost in your July, let's say August, because what's going to happen in 2020 August is your most senior batch, 2026 A level people are going to go to the exam, right? So once they are done, we are going to start your paper class, right? I'm going to start papers. So your paper class is going to extend until you write the exam. It's going to extend until you write the exam. The paper class is going to extend for 2 years. The paper class is going to go for 2 years. Okay. Most classes typically start paper class here. Okay. After the 2027 people are going to their exam, but we are going to start 2 years before 2 years to your exam. Okay. So here we are going to start almost with 3 hour papers, sort of half papers, we can say, 2 papers per month. But once we start the proper class in August, proper paper class, it's going to be 5 hour papers, 2 papers per month for 1 year, right? So how long is that? 2 papers per month for whole year, right? Almost close to 25 full papers completed. Okay. That is the paper class structure. And here we are going to start the revision class as well, 2027 August 12, but you don't need to come to there because why? It's mainly for second shy and third shy people. Always try to focus on the first shy, right? And what else? Any questions you have? Do you have any questions? What would be the class timing once the schools open? So the physical class times are Saturday at ISM 1:30 and at Headway it's Thursday 4 p.m. So the online time is most probably going to be Thursday 4 p.m. Yes, recordings are provided, right? I have a website and their recordings are provided. Okay, you can access recording. Even if you're a physical student, if you are absent on a particular week due to a understandable reason, we can give you the recording, right? Because the policy right now, I mean, with me also, is to help students to learn their maximum, right? Nothing is stopping, right? Our policy is to help you learn as much as possible. Thursday 4 to 7:30, almost 8. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay. The tute is available in the chat. Wait, let me pin it. Yeah, if you go above the chat, you will be able to see. Hold on. Right, I'll send it once we have started the theory. Okay. Theory, so that is right. That's all we. I mean, so have we talked about? We have made a plan, realistic plan for syllabus coverage. I have shown you what the paper structure is. Right. Okay. So next up, we're going to see the several, let's say, programs we have in order to sort of make this a very effective learning experience. Okay. Moving on. You can't hear clearly? How about now? Now better? Now better, right? Okay, sure. Yeah, hold on. Okay, there's a question. How should we take your notes? What type of book? Yeah, I'll talk about that. You need to only bring one writing book to my classes. Buy a CR book. Okay, buy a CR book. That is to write essays. Okay, that is to write essays. Only one book is required, your essay writing book, because one of the biggest programs or the things I take, I mean, okay, right. I think we are now okay. Anyway, one of the things I again and again talk about is practicing essays, right? So you only need to bring one CR book, buy only one CR book, that is to write essays. Okay, so essay writing book, I'll come back. Okay. Okay. Since you asked, Abhi, Mike, I'll talk about it. One of the most important things in my class is your essay writing book. Okay. Essay book. Because everything you need is you need to write down. I have you have the tute. Okay. Essay book. Every week I will try to write you an essay. At the end of the 2.5 years, you are going to have a big collection. Eka book එකක් මදි වෙනවා. You are going to have a big collection of essays at the end of the 2.5 years, right? So once, okay, imagine the A-level exam is tomorrow. Today you are going to get panicked, right? Today it's very understandable, you are going to get panicked. පාඩම් කළ මදි මෙලෝදයක් මතක නැහැ, right? One of the things I myself, I because I did this essay book, right? I wrote so many essays, right? Thousands of essays I wrote from the entire syllabus. One of the things I sort of used to reassure myself, right? Okay, I'm prepared enough. I have done enough. I have done my maximum. Is I went through my essay writing book and I saw, yes, I have written so many essays. I have written this entire syllabus sometimes 4 to 5 times, right? So you can see that I have written everything, I have done everything I could. So I am prepared enough. So that's one thing. So we are going to write at least one essay per week, and at class, right? That's one thing. And usually every week there's going to be a homework essay, and before the class starts, we are going to check that essay, mark that essay. Okay, got it? Right. Anything else? Practicals will be demonstrated to you. Yes, you can. For practicals, I'm going to give a separate practical note, right? There's going to be a practical note, separate one. Okay, separate one. So they are together with our special practical sessions. You can write down everything. You can draw all the diagrams that you need in a special practical note tute that will be delivered to you or will be given to you. Okay, right. Coming back to sort of so before we just move on to uh, the lesson today, right? We'll take a small break and then we'll move on. Before the break, what I want to talk about is these are a few things. These are moment from our last year's practical seminar, right? Then one of the things I usually do is I have the software 3D software available for visualizing the human anatomy parts, right? So together in the physical class, one of the things I can offer is in the physical class, I can provide you hands-on experience, but for online people also, I try my best to keep it interactive. So for example, for your skeletal system, there's a nice separate lesson. So if you are able to come physically for that special seminar, at least you can handle all the skeletal bones in the body and have a nice 3D understanding. But with the software also, I'm going to give you a nice uh, visualization of everything you need to know. Okay, so I have been doing bio classes for the past 4 to 5 years, right? Sorry, yeah, ever since I did my A levels. So these some moments from the 2026 and 7 classes. This is one of the halls where we had held. There's another hall, right? One of the exam halls where we had our term test preparation exam, right? Term test preparation exam, because as I told you, one of the ways that you lose confidence is when you start to lose your term test marks at school, right? ඔගොල්ලෝ කියයි okay school එකේ උගන්වන්නේ නැහැ, school doesn't matter, but you know, if you start to lose marks at your school exams, it's going to affect your confidence. It's going to affect your confidence. You're going to get the feeling that okay, I am not smart enough, I don't have enough time to do this. Okay, idea එකක්, it can come to your mind. If that happens, it's very difficult to remove it, right? It's that idea is difficult to remove. So I'm going to have my own exam before I send you to the proper term test at school, right? So we are online students can also join the Zoom, and I will be monitoring that you write it properly, and the papers are marked and given to you. That is our term test preparation exam. Okay, so those are a few things. And right, moments, this is a moment from our bone special seminar. Can anyone tell me, just for fun, what this bone is, Nigam? So this is the bone I always have in my class bag, right? I have the entire full skeleton, but what is this bone? What do you think this is? No, this is a femur. Within in the board, what I'm holding here, that is a femur, right? A femur is much longer, right? Nikan guess kana, right? The best thing is about learning human biology. You are a human, na? You are also a human. So just check your body where you can find a bone like this length, the mouth band, right? Where in my body? Hand? No. I think you are trying to say something. No, not leg. Leg bones. This is too small to be a leg bone. I'll give you a okay. It's one of the upper limb bones, right? Upper limb. Where in the upper limb? Yeah. It's a funny bone, nah? Because why? Do you know what this bone is? It's called the humerus. It's called the humerus. It belongs to the, I think, the right side humerus. It's the upper bone. This bone, nah? This length එක තියෙන මෙතන මේ ටික. That is this bone. Okay. What I'm showing you here is a femur together with the pelvis. That is how the leg works, and you can see I have several skulls as well as to sort of distribute around the class. And this is one of the paper discussion demonstrations, right? Usually I do paper discussions online because it's easy to have the entire paper on the board and do it with you. Okay, right? So we'll take another few minutes for the introduction, then we'll take a small break, and then we'll go to the class itself, right? So if I talk a little bit about myself, I entered into the faculty of medicine almost now 4 years, 4.5, 5 years ago, right? This is my first day at the faculty. So other than doing all the extracurricular things and doing classes, I have been doing a lot of things at faculty, right? Okay. What do you think this is? This is just for fun, no? This is just for fun. What do you think this test is? Hands up. Do you have driver's license? License? You know the car. O level ඉවරගම anyone who has driver's license? No, right? You don't have. You are not old enough, ne? You're not old enough, right? License, yeah. No. This is one of the things you will have to do when you are going to get this new license. That is to get your blood type, blood group. Okay, blood group tested. So this is my blood group. Okay, this is how I checked in the biochemistry lab my own blood group, right? So you can see an A letter here. So it's A. You can see a B letter here, and this is D. That is for the plus or minus. Do you know what are the blood groups? Can you tell me some blood groups? Can Tagala. So online people always should have to be very active in the chat. Okay. Good guess. Color blindness test. Okay, you are thinking good. Not really. It's a blood group test. Okay. Yeah, you can have A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, O positive, O negative, AB positive, AB negative. Okay, right. Blood groups. So, what do you think my blood group is that is given here? This is a positive result for blood group A, and also positive for B, and also uh, the positive factor is also there. So, my blood group is AB positive. What do you know about AB positive? What do you know about AB positive? It's yes. It's a universal recipient. What do you mean? AB positive people can take blood from any other blood group. Okay. I mean, usually there can be few problems, but usually you can AB positive people can take blood from any other person. Right? Do you know who is the person that can give blood to anyone? O negative. O negative is a person that can give blood to anyone. That is called a universal donor. He is born to be a good donor. මොකද පින් කරන්න chance එකක් තියෙනවා. No, AB positive is the universal recipient. Okay. So that's one of the things if you go to medicine or even any sort of first 2 years in dental sciences and medicine, it's the same. All right. And if you go to any science faculty, sort of University of Colombo faculty of science is very, very competitive, very, very advanced, right? You have the access to these sort of lab facilities, right? And here I have blurred it. It's one of the things you get to do as a dental student or a medical student, is to do dissections, right? Is to do dissections, because the first 2 years you are going to get a body from a person that donated it. Okay, so I think in our group, in my batch, we had about 11 people. Some groups had 12. We got a full body, a capital, right? For 2 years, it's our gift. Okay, so we can do not anything, but we have the freedom to dissect it, to cut it any way we like, right? To learn from it any way we like, right? So nobody tells you, right? On the first day, you are taken to the dissection hall and you are given a body. Okay, this is your body. Start dissecting. So you have to read books by yourself. You have to teach yourself. You can teach your batchmates, your group mates. It's a nice learning experience. People donate in Sri Lanka. It's a very lucky medical field and also the science field. It's very lucky because people are donating bodies. Okay, ask your parents, even your grandparents. Ahalabana, most of them have written their bodies to be used for science. Okay, that's because in Sri Lanka it's like we have a donating culture. In if you are planning to do like a medical degree in a different country, Belarus, Russia, right? One of the things they say is that dissecting bodies are very rare. They usually use synthetic bodies, plastic, sort of rubbery synthetic bodies they have to cut. Okay, um, and the other thing is, I'm just telling you, if you have been to a state government hospital, medical students are there, and the patients, they allow the medical students to take their history and do the examination and learn from them. Not in foreign countries, right? You cannot examine or even touch a patient without complicated consent forms and getting their permission. But in Sri Lanka, this people are very accommodating. So it's Sri Lanka is a very good place to follow a science degree, medicine. Okay, got it. Then what else? So I told you it's a learning experience. It's a group learning experience. Very difficult to A levels. A levels, it's like if you learn something new, aluten ganak haduwot, you hope your friend doesn't do it, right? Because it's a competition. It's understandable. You have to be better than the other person. But if you go to the faculty, any university, it doesn't matter. Sometimes if you all of you have good marks, okkotama first classes then. If all of you have good marks, you can get distinctions. Everyone in the batch, they want to do that. But not in A levels. There's a limited number of A passes. Only a limited number of spaces are available at the universities. Okay. So as I was saying, this is one of the things. I mean, this is a leg, right, that I have dissected at faculty, and I have labeled it by myself, right? So I share it to my group mates so that they can learn from it. Things I saw, right? The things I saw, I share with my group mates, right? Because it's good for me as well, right? This thing, right? This is a very nice specimen that we have in our lab. Can anyone tell me? Okay, this is a preserved body, right? Can anyone tell me something? Do you see something special about this? What do you think this L is? May L කියලා තියෙන්නේ. What do you think this L is? Yes, what do you think this L is? Put your send everything to the main chat. I'm going to miss. Yeah, the L is liver. What about this H? That is the heart. So, okay, if I stand here, what is the location of my heart? On my left side. What is the location of my liver? Where do you have the liver? Usually, sort of below your ribs on the right side. Okay. So, this is a very rare body. Someone who has donated, they have organs on the other side. So, their heart is on the right side, their liver is on the left side. very rare. And the rare thing is this person has somehow donated his body. So it's very rare for a person to donate body. And the other thing, that donated body to have organs on the other end, opposite sides. Right? I just want to show you. This is something we learned in anatomy. Right? Other things, these are something from the academic life. Right? This is something we wear when we are doing orthopedic surgery. What do you know about orthopedic surgery? I'll finish this introduction very fast. Okay. What do you know about orthopedic? It's like a mechanical shop, right? Bones surgery is a good answer, right? Whenever you have fractures, dislocations, achila, vetila, hip fractures, unahama hip, right? Pelvic fractures, orthopedic surgery. It's like kelima using katuai mitiai and drilling and everything, right? So we do that constantly by we now usually imagine you broke this elbow. We don't cut open your skin and open everything and do the surgery. We don't do that anymore, right? Using small holes through the skin, you can fix the elbow, right? In order to do that, we need to take x-rays. While you are doing the surgery, we need to take x-rays from different angles, right? So because x-rays, about 100 x-rays are taken during one surgery, you have to protect yourself from x-rays. This is a lead line suit that is going to protect from x-rays. Okay. One of our senior surgeons, they don't wear this whole thing. There's only a neck guard. There's a neck guard to protect the thyroid gland, right? Thyroid cancer in one. So that senior sir is only wearing the thyroid gland, right? Thyroid guard, right? Okay, because he doesn't care about other cancers at this point. Okay, right? So this is surgery assisting, and other things I do at faculty, just I included, right? So once you have gone through this barrier of A levels, from that point onwards, it's very scientific learning. Okay, it's very scientific learning from that point onwards. Okay, any questions do you have? So it's 3:30. Let's take 5-minute break, right? Let's take a 5-minute break. Then we'll start the first lesson, right? Introduction to biology. Okay. Without further ado, that's all I'm going to talk about. The syllabus or the paper or our class programs, right? That's all. Okay. So I'll answer some of the questions at the end of the session. Okay. Take a small break, 5 minutes, then we'll start again. Okay. Come back at 3:35. Okay.
interesting.
Okay. We can continue. Lama, any questions that you have? Parents, I did. Okay, my personal questions will be at the end of the class. Okay. Right. Okay. So, regarding for you specifically as online students, right? Halatin Vela, I'll answer. There's a website, right? I do my online classes through Gurutaru Online. There's a website. All website details will be sent. So through that, the tutes are delivered to you. Okay, full color tutes with all the papers that we are going to do. All right, will be delivered free of charge, not added to. I mean, it's included in your class fee. Will be delivered to you. So my always goal is before we start a lesson to have the tute in your hand. Okay, so that will be delivered to you. The online class time Thursday 4 is actually currently the time. I will try my best to have a online streaming time at Saturday as well, right? But currently it's going to be Thursday, right? But I'll okay, after this session is done, we'll talk about it. Okay, what we can do, right? Right. Okay. So people download the class fee. It's going to be 5,000. Okay, that includes all the tutes and the access to recordings. Okay, right. So the tute has been sent to the WhatsApp group, and I'll now send it to the Zoom chat as well. Okay. Um, so please download it before. I mean, you will be it will be delivered to you once you enroll at the website. Okay, once you enter your address to the website, it will be delivered. If you can make it to a physical class location, Nugegoda or Negombo, you can have the tute in hand by this Saturday or next Thursday. Okay. Tute is now available in the group again. Okay. Quickly have a PDF in your hand. Right. So, introduction to biology. That's our very first lesson. You can have 1 to 2 MCQs from introduction to biology. Okay. So, as I told you, once we have done a lesson, we are going to jump to questions. That's how the class continues. Okay. Introduction to biology. So, nature scope and importance of biology with reference to challenges faced by mankind. Okay. So, I'll just talk about it, right? Okay, so you are learning biology right now to face the A levels because it's a subject required by you from you in order to apply for most of the university degrees, right? That's why you learn bio. But okay, imagine like a scientist or a researcher who's studying biology. Why do they do that? They will understand. Why do they do that? There has to be like a whole, I mean, a big picture purpose. Ned. Why do we study biology? Why do we research biology? Why do we do new discoveries in biology? That is for what? For the betterment of the mankind, right? To solve challenges, different problems that we have to see if we can solve those by knowledge of biology, different innovations in biology. That's why we are studying biology. Okay. So, what is biology? That's the first thing you need to know. What is biology? It is a mix or like a right? It's a junction of two words that is bios and logos. Okay. What do you mean by logos? Let's talk about, let's take this word logos out first. It's a study of, right? Any logos will become the logi, right? Logos, that is in Latin, will become the logi of something. So tell me some logis, word at the end, some sort of a scientific study with the logi at the end. What logis do you know? Okay, biology can depa. Okay, archaeology. Okay, archaeology, study of ancient history and stuff, right? Physiology is the study of the function. Psychology is the study of mental function, right? Psychology. What else? What else? Tagalada. Any logis? Zoology, study of animals. What else? Cardiology, study of cardiac function, heart function. Microbiology, study of microorganisms. Yes. Neurology, study of nerve conduction, nervous system. Gynecology, study of female, let's say, diseases. Yes. So any scientific study, you can say it's a logi because it's based on logic. Okay. Right. That is the meaning of logos. Bios is life. Right. Let's read. The concept of life is not easy to define. Still, scientists are unable to provide an acceptable definition for life. Life is something special and unique which cannot be explained using laws of chemistry and physics. Okay. Right. How do you define life, right? That brings us that question, what is life, right? That sort of brings us to sort of religious territory, right? It's like when does a person start living, when does a person stop living? Those are like philosophical and religious questions, right? But biology is a scientific study of life, so we need to be able to explain what is life scientifically, right? So, okay, this pen, do you think it's living? No. This board, is it living? No. Whatever the material that you are wearing, or bone, this bone, is it living right now? Is it living right now? This board, is it, sorry, this bone, is it living right now? No. How do you say that? කොහොමද කියන්නේ? How do you know that it's not living? Yes, because it's not moving. It's not moving in the, oh, it's not reacting. If I talk to it, it's not reacting to me. It's not growing. What else? Yeah. Yes. If you want to define something as living or non-living scientifically, you have to check. There's a checklist of things, right? If all the things of a living organism is there, you can say, okay, this cell, this plant, this microorganism, this animal is living. If not, you can say it's not living. That's how you scientifically prove something. Because of this evidence, this thing is living, this thing is non-living. Can you tell me a situation or a job where it's very important that you have a idea of when a person is living or dead, non-living? What sort of people should be very careful when they say this person is no longer living? Doctor, right? Yes, a doctor. Okay, imagine මෙහෙම. So you are a doctor that is working at an emergency department, right? Emergency unit, and a patient is brought to you uh, having a heart attack. So you try to save this patient. You give CPR. You give electric current or defibrillation, right? You can do that. You give adrenaline and you give oxygen and you try everything, but the person dies, right? So what the ward doctor, what does he have to do? He has to record something that is called time of death. Okay, time of death he has to note down. Then He has to fill the death certificate information right down in the ticket. This is the cause, this is the cause, because of this person, because of this reason, this reason, the this person is no longer living. What are the ways that a doctor use to say, okay, this person is not living? නිකන් general idea එකක් කියන්න බා. How does a doctor say? Basic thing? Yes. Pulse එක අල්ලලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. If there is a pulse, palpable pulse is not there, because when someone is very weak, sometimes the heart is very weak, pulse you can't see. Okay, breathing, you can bend down to their level and listen if there's any breath sounds are coming out of their mouth or nose. No breaths, then what do you do? All right, how do you check heartbeat? How do you check? Doctor has a stethoscope. Yes, doctor has a stethoscope, you can keep to the chest, then here. Yes, I'm seeing something very interesting. You can shine a torch at that person's eye, because here at the center of the eye, what do you have? What do you call this black opening into the eye where light goes in? It's a pupil. Yes, the black one is pupil. What is the colored area? Imagine, okay, this person has green color eyes, so that is called the iris. That is dependent on the skin color and everything, right? Iris color. So when you shine a torch, this pupil becomes smaller. When you go to a dark place, this pupil becomes bigger. Right? So that's what happens. So it is because of a reflex in the brain, right? If this is the brain, there's the brain stem that becomes a spinal cord. Usually in the brain stem, you have these reflexes. Okay? Reflexes are not going to work if the brain is dead. So that is a final sign that this person has passed away. Right? So that's how a doctor defines a person is no longer living. Right? That's how a doctor defines, okay, this person has stopped living. Right? So that's one of the scientific ways. Right? We are going to talk about those scientific ways in this lesson. Right? How we define life. That's very logical, no? Before we study biology, we need to know what we are studying. Then we need to know how do we identify that we need to study this. We only study it if it's living. Right? Understood? Clear? There's a question. What about during a coma? Coma, the heart is beating, the brain is not there. It's like our autopilot, right? The plane is flying, no one is flying it. Pilot missing. The brain is dead. Brain is dead or not responding. Heart is beating. Okay. Right. So next, biology is a subject which is very complex and vast. Hence, for the convenience of studying, it has been divided into three primary branches. Three primary branches. What are the three primary branches of biology? What are the three primary branches that we divide bio into? So, if you have any parents who did bio in sort of the 90s and 80s, they might tell you they did two subjects for biology, zoology and, yes, they might have done zoology they might have done only two subjects, that is zoology and botany. So write down, okay, once you get the tute, you can complete. Zoology is what? What is zoology? Study of animals. Study of animals. Zoology is the study of animals. Botany is the study of plants. So now we have added very important, very vast field, that is the microbiology, study of microorganisms. Microorganisms. Right. So those are three, let's say, primary branches. Under those, we have so many uh, different subspecialties or areas of study. This word is very important. These are called areas of study. Right. Cell biology. Cell biology. What do you mean by cell biology? It's the study of cells. Huh? Very simple. Study of cells. So for this, we have actually a nice, better name, but you don't need to know that. That is called cytology, cell science again, right? Study of cells. Histology. What do you mean by histology? It's the study of tissues. Okay. Study of tissues. What else? Anatomy. Anatomy. So I mentioned the word anatomy uh, several times in my sort of introduction and everything. What do you mean by anatomy? It is a study of structure, yes, but more to be more specific, it is a study of gross structure. What do you mean by gross structure? Gross structure means it's like the study of the body as a whole, sort of the big picture, right? I mean, if you say cytology is a study of structure as well, you're studying the structure of cells, you're studying tissues, those are actually subspecialties of anatomy. But as a whole, we say anatomy is a study of like the entire body as a whole, right? Gross anatomy, right? Study of gross structure is anatomy. Physiology. What is physiology? Study of function, how everything works, how the our engine runs, how our body runs, how you convert glucose into energy, how you digest your food, how your blood pumps everywhere in the body, how you think, how you memorize, how everything happens. Biochemistry, study of biological, you can say, yeah, biological molecules. Study of biological molecules. Genetics. So study of inheritance. What do you mean by inheritance? අර තාත්තගෙන් අම්මගෙන් හම්බෙන the land and the house. Is it that inheritance? The last will එකෙන් හම්බෙන? No. It's how what you received from your parents when you were conceived. Okay. That's what you mean by inheritance. We'll talk about ecology. Very simple, nice science. Study of the environment. Study of the environment is ecology. Okay. So what do you see here? I mean, there are some diagrams. Shall we talk about those diagrams? What do you see? This child. Have you seen this kind of children? These are all in your syllabus. That's why I talk about these things, right? Nothing out of syllabus I talk about. Okay, send me in the chat. What are the features that you see? What are the features that you see in this boy or a child that is not normal for a, I mean, that you can't see in normal other children? Yes. Yeah. If you start from the top, they have usually like straight hair. No, they have almost all straight hair, and their eyes are a bit closed because they have a third eyelid. We say they have a third eyelid. Their nose is a bit flat. Yes. They are short. They have a short stature. That is good. And what else? Have you seen them? I mean, have you heard them speak? කතා කරනවා දැකලා තියෙනවද? Speaking? Can they speak properly? For one thing, okay, their IQ is a bit low. That's one thing they can't speak properly. Then the other thing is they have a big tongue compared to us and a smaller mouth. Their tongue is big and the mouth is small. So they have difficulty speaking. That's one thing. And they have a short stature and they can have certain problems in their heart, right? Heart structure can be a bit not properly formed, right? So it's what we call as a don't call it Down's disease. No, it's a syndrome. We usually call things as syndromes when you have a collection of things that are abnormal, right? Collection of things that are abnormal. That's why we call it a syndrome, right? So there's something additional. So I'm explaining this. Down syndrome is a genetically inherited. It is because of the genetics that you get Down syndrome. Usually, it is from the mother that you get Down syndrome. Usually, with the mother's age increases when she had the baby can be Downs, right? So, we usually advise mothers above 40, 45 again. If they are attempting to get pregnant, we can advise them um, not to, I mean, there can be a risk, right? What do you think this is? It's called a karyotype, right? It's a sort of a output that we get from a technology called the DNA sequencing. All these are in the syllabus, huh? Right? I'm teaching nothing out of syllabus. Right? මේවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ molecular වලට ගිහිලා කරද්දී ඔයගලන්ට මතක් වෙයි yes I told you this on the very first day introduction to biology. Okay, DNA sequencing, you can arrange all the DNA that you have in a body, in a cell, into a nice let's say organization like this. What do you call this? What are these structures? These, what are these? Any idea what those are? These are called chromosomes. Varnadeha කියලා කියන in Sinhala, right? Chromosomes. It's how you pack DNA, right? මෙහෙමයි. Right? If you take a normal cell, right? If you take a normal cell, there's a nucleus, right? In that nucleus, you have DNA. You have DNA in the nucleus, but the DNA is like loosely arranged like this. It's like a ball of string, right? It's like this. So imagine you have your clothes that you wear every day. Do you always like nicely fold them and put them into a suitcase every day? The clothes you wear to school, your school uniforms and also your everyday clothes, do you pack them tightly in a suitcase? No. So whenever a cell is just they are not dividing, its DNA is like this, like a ball of string. Okay, but when that cell is about to divide into two cells, මෙහෙම, you are going to produce two cells. So for both cells, you are going to give DNA. You are going to give DNA to both cells. So when that cell is about to divide, the DNA is going to be tightly packed into a structure called chromosome. It's like when you are about to travel. Okay, if you go to university, you have to go to a boarding place, no, or a hostel. When you are going to go there, you pack your clothes into a suitcase. That's because you are about to travel. So your DNA can be packed into chromosomes like this. The number of chromosomes we have or a cell has differs from species to species. Can anyone tell me how many chromosomes do humans have? Yakti. We have 46. Okay, can you count and tell me how many chromosomes you can see in this karyotype? Here, how many can you see? You can count in your own tubes. How many chromosomes can you see? How many did you get with the count? How many? 47. Right. So something is not normal, eh? 45. Something is not normal, no? Something is happening. Why is that? That extra chromosome is the reason that this boy got Down syndrome. Okay, that extra chromosome is the reason why this boy got the Down syndrome. Okay, so hold on, I'm trying to show you something. Right, never mind. Okay. Mm, never mind. Okay. Right, coming back. Okay. So there's a issue. This extra chromosome, where can you see here? No, in the 21st chromosome pair, it's not actually a pair. No, there's three here. That means it's like this. Abhi can you see? There's I colored red and blue, red and blue, red and blue. How do I? Why did I do that? That's because half of these. So you can see pairs. No, right? This is one. All right. You can see pairs. One chromosome of each of these pairs you received from your mother. That is called the maternal chromosome. The other one you received from your father when you were fertilized. I mean, during fertilization. What did you get first after fertilization? So there was a sperm, there was a bigger egg, then it got together to form a single cell. Ken, what was it called? Zygote. Then the zygote became what? A morula. Right? Reproduction, there was a question, right? There was a reproduction question, right? I know. Okay. So The problem happened here in the 21st chromosome. The mother gave this child two copies, and father gave one. So this child got something called as a triple 21st chromosome, that is called a trisomy. Okay, තුනක් තියෙනවා. So we call it trisomy 21. That is another name for Down syndrome. So these are some of the things that we study in genetics. How characters pass from one generation to the next, and also during because of problems in that inheritance, what are the diseases, disorders, syndromes that can be caused. Okay, genetics. If you want, you can write down later, right? Genetics. This is called trisomy 21. Trisomy 21 is another name for uh, Down syndrome. Down syndrome is in your syllabus. Okay. Got it? Moving on, I want to talk about this one. This diagram. What do you think this is? Yeah, Downs is always due to the 21st chromosome. There can be other trisomies such as Klinefelter. Okay. This is a structure that we have for, I mean, one of the specimens that we have when we are studying anatomy. Okay. අපි මේකට කියනවා this sort of preparation, what kind of things you can see? This is the head and part of the neck, no? Head and part of the neck, right? So this sort of section, if I stand here, you can see it's been cut like this. Ne? It's what we call as a sagittal section. A sagittal section. So this is how we study gross anatomy, right? Different relations to different structures. What are the things you can identify with your knowledge? Who is this? Who is that? Any idea? It's below the brain. No, it is below the brain. Yes, okay, yes. It's called the cerebellum. If you don't know, it's fine, right? I'm just saying, right? But you had 4 levels, right? So I'm just reminding you things, right? If you can't identify, that's fine. But I hope you know what is cerebellum is. Cerebellum is kudamole, right? It's the structure of the brain that helps you coordinate big movements. It helps you to ride a bicycle, actually run fast, climb. Those kind of big scale body movements are coordinated by that. What else? You can see this sort of lines and lines like this within white color lines. Those are your vertebral columns. Neck එකේ vertebral column, right? The vertebral column of the neck. කොඳු ඇටපෙළිය, right? This is the tongue. Huh? The tongue is a bigger structure than you think. These are teeth, right? Some teeth can be seen. So here is the nostril. This is the entire inside of the nose. You can now see why your nose gets congested very soon, right? Very easily, no? නහය තද වෙන්නේ නහය මොකද වෙන්නේ? නහය block වෙන්නේ. Very frequently. Why is that? Because inside the nose is very complicated. There are so many structures that can get inflamed. ඉදිමෙන්න පුළුවන්, සෙම වෙන්න පිරෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? So many things inside the nose can get blocked. Okay. So that is the inside of the nose. What else? You know this here. What is the tube that is dividing here? There's a tube that is going straight downwards like this. This area is the pharynx. And there's another tube that is going forward of it. ඉස්සරහින් යන එකක් තියෙනවා here. The tube that is going in front, if you can write, I told you, if you want to, if you don't remember anything, you can feel in your own body. Yeah? What is the tube that is inside? Sorry, I'm sorry, the tube that is forward in front of, that is a trachea, windpipe. So this one, yellow one is the trachea. The one behind it is the esophagus. Okay. So I hope you can remember there's a protective mechanism to prevent food from going down in the wrong pathway. 52 කියලා තියෙන්නේ. If you have the PDF, you can zoom and see. Once you get the tube delivered, you can label this. It's yes, it is the epiglottis. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will able to see that I have done a small video showing how the epiglottis works. Okay, epiglottis, it prevents food from growing in the windpipe or the trachea. If food goes in the windpipe, what's going to happen? You're going to get something called aspiration pneumonia. That's if you don't die from suffocation, right? The most biggest risk is tadi පාංකයක් වගේ ගියොත් you are going to suffocate. හුස්ම හිර. Okay. But if that doesn't happen, you can get bacteria in your lungs, you can get pneumonia. Okay. What else do you know? Here, this one I always wanted to tell you. What do you think this is? Number 6 කියලා තියෙන්නේ? Sorry. Yes. This is called the frontal. Can you give me a name? It's called a frontal sinus, right? Sinus. Then you might think, okay, do our skull has empty spaces? නිකන් ඔළුව ඇතුලේ හිස්ද කියලා අහන්නේ, මොලේ හිස්ද කියලා අහන්නේ, right? This is not the mole, right? It's part of the skull that has some spaces, air cavities that are called sinuses. Sinuses. So you will be able to see that this nose and the sinus is connected somehow. So your nose has so much bacteria, viruses, right? Those can go into your head here, the skull, and cause infection. Sinusitis killer, has anyone heard? Sinusitis. Yes. That is an infection of your sinuses. Massive headache. Right? So those are some of the interesting things. What do you think that the purpose? මේ වගේ හිස්තැන් තියෙන්නේ just to for fun, for infection? No. No, no. Bleeding from nose is a different thing. Okay, that can happen because of high blood pressure. Okay, the sinuses are there to reduce the weight of the skull. Your skull is balanced on top of your neck. If your skull is very heavy, already it's very heavy, yeah? But if it's much more heavy, it's going to be much more heavy if you don't have these sort of sinuses, right? So that's there to reduce the weight of the skull. And also, so when I'm speaking like this, my voice is vibrating inside my skull and increasing the volume. So it does something called resonance also. What else do you know? So this is 66, you can call that is the medulla, and not that clear, you can see some 17, that is the pituitary gland, things like that you can see. Okay, this is the palate. තල්ල කියලා කියන්නේ palate එක උඩ තියෙන. Yeah, so this is gross anatomy. It's one of the examples what we learn under gross anatomy. All these things you are going to learn under the which lesson number? 5th lesson. හරිද? Right, final diagram in the first page, right? This is a report or a diagram showing how biochemical reports or biochemistry is applied in medicine. Okay, you can see a heart here. Can you see the part of this heart is sort of red color? Why is that? Because there has been some damage, because the blood vessel supplying this heart, this part of the heart, has been blocked. So what can happen? Yes, what can happen if you have a decreased blood supply to the heart? Yeah, you can have a heart attack. Heart failure is a long term thing. Okay, once you get several heart attacks, your heart fails. Your heart fail A level fail right? The heart just fails. It's not a good pump anymore. But for that to happen, you need several heart attacks. What I'm going to talk about is called heart attack, right? Heart attacks usually happen because of the death of heart muscle or cardiac muscle. So, okay, අර අපි කතා කරේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා there was a patient who came with a heart attack. Imagine that patient didn't die but survived. Okay, but now you want to confirm indeed this patient had a heart attack. If he had a heart attack, or was it something different? Severe gastritis could be severe gastritis, could be some sort of other blood vessel problem, right? So what are the things you can do? You can take a ECG, you can put some electric leads on the chest and take an ECG. So the ECG is not very conclusive as well. It shows some weird things, but not very confirmatory. One of the things you can do as a doctor is you can order these two things, cardiac troponin and not rare, this CKMB. Most common is this cardiac troponin. Okay. So when what happens is, if you have a heart attack, heart muscle dies, no? The heart muscle dies. When it is dying, it releases certain chemicals into the blood. So if you can detect those chemicals, that means yes, you have had a heart attack. So if you get a troponin result as positive, okay, you can say this person had a heart attack. So you have to start other drugs to save his rest of his heart. Okay, save the rest of his heart. So that's something we study under biochemistry. Any questions? Any questions? So that is the first page of the tube done. You have any questions? Then we can move on to issues pertaining to biology. Issues pertaining to biology. So as I told you, why we study biology from a scientific point of view is to help the humankind, as a whole. That's why we study it, right? I mean, you study it for the A levels, I told you, but there should be a certain benefit to the humankind. But if you want to solve issues on Earth or issues faced by humans, you need to know what are the issues exactly. Right? If before you find a solution. So that's what we are going to do next. We are going to discuss some issues that is faced by the current human population as well as our planet as a whole, right? First issue that we have to address is understanding biological diversity. Okay, so let's read a little bit. At present, our planet is rich in diversity. Life on Earth formed around, what do you think? The first cells on Earth are actually 3.8 billion years old. 3.8 billion years old. Okay. So that's how old Earth is. I mean, that's how old the first living organism on Earth is. So life has been evolving for about 3.8 billion years old. Okay, I mean, since 3.8 billion years. Right, next point. The first form organisms are believed to be heterotrophic anaerobic prokaryotes. Okay, so if you have, I mean, because you don't have your tooth in the hand, right? On once you get the tooth, you can write down. Right, on top of this page, I want you to write down the meaning of heterotrophic Trophic. Okay, heterotrophic. What do you mean by heterotrophic? What do you mean by heterotrophic? Write down, use inorganic carbon as carbon source. I'm sorry, use organic carbon. Sorry, heterotrophic means use organic carbon. Use organic carbon, organic carbon as the carbon source. What is the opposite of this heterotrophic? It's autotrophic. That means can fix inorganic carbon. Can fix inorganic carbon. That is autotrophic. So the first form organisms were heterotrophic. So they were not able to fix inorganic carbon. They had to be provided with already fixed carbon. What are the inorganic carbon sources, you know? Inorganic carbon means that is not usually interacting with hydrogen to form complex organic molecules, right? The main inorganic carbon source on earth is carbon dioxide. So autotrophs can fix this carbon dioxide. Give me an example for an autotroph? What are the most common autotrophs on earth? Plants and photosynthetic organisms, photosynthetic bacteria. Again, so first formed organisms were not like that. They couldn't fix carbon. They had to use already existing organic carbon. So where were these existing carbon? In the ocean, in the sea, right? First cells were actually produced in the sea. The sea, early earth oceans were very, or we will say, rich in organic carbon. We call it a primitive soup. මේ syllabus එකේ තියෙනවා. Okay, nothing is out of the syllabus. It's called a primitive soup. A soup is like a very nutritious thing, right? So the early oceans were like this, full of organic molecules. So the first form cells could easily drink this soup and be heterotroph. Okay. Then what do you think? What do you call? No, what do you call? What do you mean by anaerobic? Doesn't require oxygen, O2. That is good because earlier didn't have oxygen. Earlier didn't have oxygen because photosynthetic plants and animals were not, sorry, organisms were not there yet. So oxygen was not there on earlier. So the first produced organisms were anaerobic. Then you can draw another arrow here. What do you mean by prokaryotes? What do you mean by prokaryotes? That means they didn't have a properly organized nucleus. Their nucleus was not properly organized. Write these things down. What is heterotrophic? What is autotrophic? What is anaerobic? And what is prokaryotic? Once you get the tute, you can write down on the tute itself. Huh? Right, let's continue. Since then, the evolutionary process resulted in the extensive biodiversity which exists in the biosphere. Now, scientists assume, based on their studies, that there are about 10 to over 100 million species. Highlight this number. There are about 10 to 100 million species in the world. There is a dynamic relationship between the living world and the inanimate world. What do you mean by inanimate? That means non-living. And each every organism has a specific role in the environment for the existence of the biosphere. Right? If you take a forest, the largest trees have their own role. They are providing protection to the small plants from excessive sunlight. Right? The plankton or pavina algae in the ocean, they are the main actually food producers on earth. So every organism in every ecosystem has their own role. Okay, sleepy the very first bio lesson. No, okay, that's why I always want you to be interactive in the chat. Huh? Don't spam the chat. Only send proper answers. Otherwise, we'll have to disable. Okay, right? All good. Right. So variety of life on Earth, the number of species of plants and animals and microorganisms, the diversity of genes in these species, the different ecosystems on the Earth, such as deserts, rainforests, coral reefs, and all part of a biologically diverse Earth. So there is so much knowledge hidden in these massive numbers of species on Earth. So much knowledge that is hidden. We haven't even discovered. I think scientists have only discovered about 1.5 million species. So they are estimating there's about 10 to 100 million. So imagine if we have 100 million, we have only discovered about 1%, no? Bit above 1%. Right? So many organisms, so many microorganisms, so many deep sea organisms we haven't discovered. Right? Some of those organisms may contain the cure for cancer, certain cancers, cure for certain diseases, diabetes, heart diseases, right? They might contain the answer. So we have to discover new species, we have to discover the massive biodiversity. That is one of the issues. Okay. If you quickly come to the end of the tute, right? Come to the very end of the tute. Right, go through the tube, right? Some of these images are from my own lecture notes sometimes, right? Okay, lecture notes diagrams which I usually include things like, for example, this one. These diagrams are from my pathology notes, right? Pathology is the study of certain disease conditions, right? Which is called Vyadhivedya in Sinhala. Okay. Right, so you can see from this page onwards, it is classified past paper questions. Classified past paper questions. Right. So I have included from 2019 onwards because why? There was a syllabus change in 2018-17, but the papers were formed from 2019 onwards. So 2019 onwards only you can do with the new syllabus resource book knowledge. Okay. But for physics and chemistry, not the same, right? You can do physics and chemistry questions from 1980s, particularly physics now. Okay, no issue with doing physics questions from 1980s to you have to do, but not for bio because some things have been removed from the syllabus. So there are questions in the old papers before 2019 you cannot answer. So that's one of the things I do in the paper class. I usually remove those questions that you can't do when I make my papers. Also, I sometimes modify all syllabus questions so that you can answer those. Okay. So there was a question, how many past papers do I discuss? For the 2026 people that I'm doing right now, I discuss from 2015 to 2025. So I plan for you 2015 to 2027 we can discuss before you go to the exam. So almost 12 years of past papers we can discuss. For bio, past paper knowledge is not that important because why? At the end of the day, what you have to have is understanding of the and in your memory, right? But for physics and chemistry, you have to practice. Okay. Quickly do this question. This is a question from 2020 paper. 2020 paper. Quickly do this MCQ. The first organism formed on Earth are, right? Other on the first day itself, I'm going to do questions. On the very first day of bio classes, we are going to do past paper questions. Okay. Send the answer to the chat. This is a 2020 A-level paper. So within 1 hour of learning, you can do past papers. Huh? Now you understand, right? Once immediately after you have learned something, you have to do questions. That is the best way to retain it into the long-term memory. The best way to take it into your long-term memory is to follow it up with questions. Not no better. I mean, no other method is better. I'll give you 30 more seconds. Everyone send me the answer. There's a lot of people in the meeting. Everyone send me the answer. Yes. The first form organisms on Earth are heterotrophic anaerobes. Heterotrophic means they can only use organic carbon. Anaerobe means they didn't need oxygen because there was no oxygen. Prokaryotes means they were the first organisms. So they had a not properly organized nucleus. Harida. Okay. Right. Make Tagala. This is a structured essay question. How many years ago did life originate on Earth? From 2021 paper. From 2021 paper. Yeah, 3.8 billion years ago. 3.8 billion years ago. Okay. So I think we can conclude for the day. That's enough theory teaching for today. Okay. Any questions you have? The chat is open. Any questions? Any parents who are watching? Any questions you have? My class time and details. So, okay. I have two physical classes, right? I have two physical classes, right? Headway Negombo is Thursday, 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. ISM Nugegoda, Saturday, 1:30 p.m. to about 5 p.m. Okay. So those are the physical times. This is the online time for now, right? Headway from Headway live class is the online time. Thursday 4 to 7:30. Okay. Then for online students, today itself, if you can, you can head over to my website that is called Gurutaru Online, right? It's a established website. You can access recordings. You can pay using cards. You can upload pay slips, right? You can access recordings. You can buy study packs. Everything you can do here. Okay. So there will be a course 2028 theory with under my name. Okay. So the technical team is there from the website. I will send all their numbers. They will assist you with anything, tube delivery problems, payment problems, study packs, recordings, any issue they are there to help you out. Okay. Tube delivery, they will follow you with any issues. Okay. Um, so those are the times. Okay. Anything else? Practicals will be demonstrated. Yes. We don't have the class tomorrow. No. It's going to be next Thursday onwards. Practicals be demonstrated in the online class. Yes. You will be shown everything. Okay. Physics and chemistry. Right. I can recommend Pasindu Chammika for chemistry. Okay. For chemistry, you have to do a lot of questions. Okay. What else? Yeah, for now only one class per week. Once we start the paper class, there's going to be a separate paper discussion time for the paper class that will be decided later. Yes, the class is right. The class will extend for almost 4 hours, right? So you have to get used to 4 hour classes now. Okay. For my 2026 revision, the class duration is almost 5 hours. Okay. You have to get used to sitting in classes, online classes. If you're planning to continue, you have to be used to it. I will consider giving online on Saturday as well. I will let you know for sure. Okay. But any student who is in this online meeting who is able to join in these two locations, please come physically. All right. Please come physically. Okay. Online, if you are confident that you can self evaluate yourself without falling asleep, that's the best. You should be, if you can assure that, that's fine. But physical, do try to come. But all the paper discussions, paper class will be held online. So I won't be bothering you to come paper classes physically, right? They will be held as online. So if you can join physically for the theory class, better if you can. You can join next month by what's happening this month, going on trips. It's understandable that if you want to relax, your parents should have been very stuck with your O levels for almost 2 to 3 years. But yeah, okay, understandable. Any other questions? So we can conclude the session for today. As you saw, we have a very organized plan. We have a very organized plan to cover everything, right? It's a tried and trusted method that I follow, right? I, with my teaching experience, as well as I have been a recent medical student, as well as my experience with A levels is still quite fresh, so I can relate to A level students a lot. I know the difficulties that you are going to face, right? You need the help of your parents, right? Even when I'm earning for myself, I'm independent, right? But whenever I have a problem, I always go to my parents. Whenever I have a problem, I have an exam coming up, I am stressed, right? So talk with your parents during this time. decide on what's the best way, method, or let's say best classes, and what's the best job you want to do, what's the degree you want to do. Discuss this during these days. Okay, think about it. Go to the UGC website, go to websites of universities and decide. Think, right? Okay, what else? Any other questions? Any other questions? It's a class fee, it's 5,000. That includes the tuts, right? No additional charge. WhatsApp group link. Okay, send. This is the class hotline. Okay, it's given here. No, this is the class hotline 070 788 6624. Right, ask any of your issues. Okay, send a message if you want to be added to the class. The next class will be on next Thursday. Yeah, better go and enroll at the website so that you get the tuts delivered. Okay. Examination in Tamil medium, but I'm going to pursue. Okay. Yeah, try and see if I mean, if you can follow the other two subjects as well, right? Better to study it as a whole package, all right? Depends on what sort of degree you are trying to follow. Depend on what sort of degree you are trying to follow, right? So you are planning to do medicine abroad, check in the university sort of requirements, uh, whether what are the subjects they require, then see. Okay, all the payment details will be sent to the group for the online people. Okay, otherwise you can come to the institute, and as usual, that's how the payment is done. Any other question? um, I will tell you all about the resource book purchasing, and also that is all you need to buy, right? Nothing else you need to buy. uh, the resource book, but you don't need to rush into buying the resource book yet because the tut is sufficient. Okay, anything else? Past paper book, yes. If you like, you can buy a past paper book, right? I think 2015 onwards is enough. Okay, 2015 onwards past paper book is enough. But anyway, I'm going to give all the classified past papers questions in my tut. So, but if you want, you can have a past paper book. That's fine. Yes, that's all you really need. Where to buy the past resource book? Um, that's a good question. I was planning to talk about this next week, right? In the website of NIE, now you cannot download it. Okay, so from the Department of Ministry of Education, there's a bookshop. From there you can buy, I think. But the thing is, the print quality is very bad. Okay, so now there are bookshops that print the resource book. There's one in Nugegoda. Okay, I will send in the group chat. So I think NIE, the Department of Education, Ministry of Education bookshop is the best one, but try to get it spiral bound, right? Buy the resource book from the bookshop and spiral bind. I'll show you one of my students' copies. Okay, he had hard bound it into a spiral bind. Otherwise, the pages are going to fall out because අවුරුදු දෙකමාරක් තිස්සේ you are going to flip this book thousands of times. Okay, so you should protect it as your sort of holy book. Okay, right? Any other question? Resource book is key. Huh? Respect your resource book, personalize it. I will talk about how to maintain the resource book in the upcoming weeks. You have to personalize it, you have to protect it, you have to like it, you have to love it. Okay, right? Because subject learning comes from the physical things as well. You have to respect your notes, you have to respect your textbooks. Okay. Not really. I don't recommend that you need to buy physics, any sort of resource book. For chemistry, I think few lessons you can use the resource book, but I don't think that's also very necessary. Depending on the class. External notes, no other notes required. Just your resource book and what I provide in the class. Okay, no other notes. Okay. To go for an A, what is the minimum score? That depends from year to year. Okay, usually we say it's 75, but depending on the difficulty of the paper, the A can come down or go up even, right? 70 වලට ලං වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, can go above 75. So that depends on the difficulty of the paper and how the students have performed. Okay, so 75, keep it in mind. 75 is A. At the end of the day, it's not the 3A letters that's going to matter. That is the Z score. Okay, so if you are in Gampaha, I think you have the highest competition, highest Z scores are required. Then Colombo, Gampaha has overtaken Colombo to be the highest Z score requiring district. Okay, bad luck. With that, I think we can finish our introductory session and the start of the first lesson. Okay, so I hope you got a very clear idea about the structure of the paper, how this exam is structured, what you should work for, what you should look for in a class, what is the requirement, what is the realistic way to cover the syllabus, why it is the importance of doing questions, what is the importance of understanding rather than just covering the syllabus as like a rapid express train. All right, all those things are necessary if you want to do this in the long run. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. You have to like the subject if you want to keep doing it for 2.5 years. Right? I always tell, keep biology as the relaxing subject. Go do physics and chemistry, ganang hadala, come back to biology to relax. Do a small MCQ, study the resource book, highlight a bit, watch a YouTube video, watch a class recording, relax. To do that, you need to keep the, let's say, you are liking to the subject, you have to maintain. It's going to be a problem, because if bio becomes your least favorite subject, you are going to lose marks for bio. You are losing marks for bio. You don't like bio, then you don't study bio. You don't study bio, you don't get marks, so you don't like bio even more. A toxic cycle it's going to go. Right. Then we can conclude for the day. Thank you for joining. See you at upcoming classes. Okay. Good luck for your A-level journey that you are starting.